Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon,
And good
JB.
afternoon, CJ. And good afternoon to you, Sue Ann Hunter. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you here. Lovely
It's
to have
great
you here.
to be here.
Now, CJ, you want to kick off with acknowledgement of the country, brother?
Yes, we'll do. So just want to reach out and acknowledge traditional owners wherever you are. I'm on Bundjalung, not Bundjalung country, but Yilgarn country, which is probably on the border of Bundjalung country here, Jack, I think. Very close to it.
Yep.
On the southern end of the Gold Coast. So I've got to say hello also to my family up in Cairns, the Indingi people, and also my father's side up in Bardagal people. So, but also, look, pay our respects and send our love to our elders, both past, present, and emerging. And wherever you're coming from, wherever you're tuning in from around the country, if in Australia or outside, you know, we pay our respects as well and acknowledge your people.
Beautifully said, CJ. I just want to acknowledge where I am this evening, which is Gubbi Gubbi country, so up on the Sunshine Coast. So pay respects to everyone up here, all the elders, past and present and emerging. And also, I would like to also just acknowledge my people, the Muddy Muddy people, and also just pay respects to all our old people and all our ancestors that have come before us as well. So thank you. Now we're going to hand over to Sue Ann, and she can tell us a little bit about herself and acknowledge the country that she's on as well. Go ahead.
Hi, so I'm a Wurundjeri woman, and I am on Wurundjeri land at the moment in lockdown, which is great. But I want to honour my ancestors and my elders and those that walked before me and were able to pass down knowledge to me. So, and you know, just pave the way so that we can be here and do what we do. So yeah, it's a bit funny at the moment but I'm lucky. I'm the lucky one. I'm on country, so lucky we're not in lockdown off country because I don't know what that would be like. But a bit about me, I guess. I'm a mum to a beautiful 9-year-old daughter, first and foremost. I am, I guess, a social worker. I don't like using that terminology, social worker, because it just doesn't. I just don't think it sits really well. Done heaps of study academically and, you know, white mainstream theory, but also lots around, I guess, culture and then how we bring that into the space of healing. So for me, lots of study around trauma, the body, the brain, what it looks like, but how we combine that with, for me, how we combine that with cultural elements for healing. So it's me.
Beautiful. And so what are you up to at the moment, Sue Ann? What sort of work are you working at the moment?
So I'm currently working for Snake, the Secretary of, oh no, it's not that anymore. Sorry, name change. Because you had, I'll call him Uncle Richard because we're online. He'll love that. I'm so
I was just going to say we did have Richard on, yes.
Yeah. So he's the CEO there at Snake, the National Voice for Children. And so it's a national advocacy sort of body that we advocate for the rights of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children in 2 areas, out-of-home care and early years. And I manage the sector development. And we also have a campaign that sort of runs out of Snake, which is Family Matters. And so I just become the co-chair actually with Richard on that. And then I also do, I have a consultancy sort of on the side. So in between I do maybe workshops around, you know, trauma, healing, self-care, but also my passion is doing cultural supervision for our mob and making sure they're all right and held in the spaces, because we all work with our mob, and so they're not triggered and they're doing well, and just holding space for them in what they're going through.
You've got a lot going on.
So and that'd be really important at the moment too, Sue Ann, with all that's happening, especially down where you are, down in Melbourne, and with what's going on with lockdown, and that that importance of that supervision for our mobs to be able to, help them get through it as well.
Yeah, it's there's lots of maybe some formal ones, but lots of informal as well that I've been doing because I live my whole life here, so I know a lot of mob. It's about how do I unpack what's going on, but it's about making the space safe for people so they're able to open up and know that it doesn't go anywhere. Them to be able to just talk and get it out, but also validate what's going on for people, particularly during COVID, that things are exacerbated and you're just going to feel that extra emotion and that it's not normal, but what you're feeling is. And, so people don't feel like they're the only ones going through it either. So sort of normalising what's abnormal, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a hard task, I think. And, I suppose with obviously, in your situation, it's not knowing, it's kind of being apprehensive about a whole lot of stuff, I suppose. And we always talk about it, Jack and I, about, it's okay if you've got some support at home, if you're living with family and friends, but if you're not, it's your whole nother, struggle, I suppose. And I can't even imagine what's going on down in Victoria because, all we see is what we see on the news. But, on the ground, it's probably, I don't know. So, I really, I find it hard sometimes because it's kind of like, the rest of Australia's doing stuff.
Yeah.
Victoria's still locked down.
Yeah, and I think, mob down here have been real deadly in keeping elders safe and people that, I guess, are high at risk. So, even just reaching out. So there's an online forum asking, if you need help. And that's just growing and everybody helping each other and dropping stuff off and making sure that people are okay and checking in. And, mob's been pretty deadly in that way. We've just moved to a different platform, which is online. So, and everybody's had their ups and downs, and it's been since March, so it's a long time. And some people are still working, some people aren't. Then you've also got the fact that you've got to homeschool as well. My daughter's slapped me 3 times already, but that's okay. And so just being gentle with yourself and everybody around you, because even if you're with family, your normality is you have a break, right? You get out and you have a break. Yeah. We'll leave that. You just don't get a break. So
you go either way, can't it? Go either way. Yeah, that's right.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it is really important to have that little bit of time to yourself, isn't it? Like, we all need that little bit of time to ourselves. It doesn't matter how fantastic or our families, our relationships are. We still need to have that a little bit of time to ourselves to be able to reflect and work out strategies in our own heads as well. So
So I figured out last week I had a bit of a meltdown, and that was probably one of the first ones I've had since, I think I've managed really well. And that was because I stopped doing the physical activity. So I stopped, and then I was like, what am I lacking in here? There's something missing. And that was, I wasn't going for my walks because I was getting straight up, doing breakfast for my daughter, getting her set, hopping straight down, working, getting off late. I didn't have many boundaries. I was losing them. So I put them back in place and I'm feeling heaps better. So, it's just keeping things separate.
And again, it is really important to be able to, look after yourself, because a lot of the times, we're doing things for everyone else and looking after everyone else. And we sort of, as you just said then, you neglected your self-care in your training and that sort of stuff. And I know how important that is in our lives as well. So, it is really important to keep on doing that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. It's just, I think because I've done so many therapies, I sort of have a grasp on it, and it makes me wonder, people that don't, and they just, they don't know what to do next. I think that's really tricky. So anyone that's listening that's struggling, I'll just reach out to people, and figure out with somebody else, just reflect off somebody else what that is. Yeah.
And I think vice versa as well. If you see someone struggling, reach out to them as well. Show them some support, and just have a yarn, even just a quick hello, and you don't know how much that affects people and how much that sort of encourages people to keep going or even talking about other stuff. So, but yeah, I look. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And again, and CJ and I talk a little bit about that, and probably often as well. CJ, every week we're talking about, if people that are vulnerable, that are lonely, those sort of things, just reach out to them as well, and just say g'day, say how are you, say what's happening. It's just about being able to have that little bit of confidence in being able to know that people are there for you. So, and I know that, and I've said it before, having just finished a bit of a stint on the National Suicide Prevention trials, that's what people are asking for, is that little bit of time with others, and that was a really big theme that come out of that. So
yeah, just listening sometimes is, I guess it's our way of being, that deep listening and holding space for somebody. And I guess when I sort of learnt that all those years ago, but the honour of someone telling you their story or what they're going through, like that's an honour to have someone disclose all that. It doesn't mean you have to have a commentary on it. It doesn't mean you have to fix it. It doesn't mean, but if you can sit there and acknowledge their story, sometimes that's all people need. And I think that in itself is healing, that someone cares enough to stop, turn their phone off, put the screens away and just sit there and listen. I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned over the years.
Yeah, and I think being in isolation or, with COVID as well, it sort of got us to reach out a lot more. Look, I've experienced it as well, Sue and Jack. People ring me that I haven't spoken to for ages, and I just, we're having a chat and whatever. Then I put the phone down. I'm thinking, oh, man, where'd that come from? And just needed to talk to someone. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And it certainly does wonders, brother. I mean, that's like I know, like as you said, it's people all the time, and that's what's happened. Like not only in COVID, but especially in COVID, a lot of people are reaching out now, and like a lot of people say our fellows won't talk and they won't share and that sort of stuff, and that makes me probably a little bit angry, to be honest, because I know how much our fellows will talk, and if we can create that safe space for them to be able to have those sort of conversations about their concerns and issues, it goes a long way to creating that safe space to let them do that. So
and I think if you reach out or someone reaches out to you and they want to tell you their story, you being prepared for what they've got without judgment. And, if it's something that deeply affects you, then, just if you can hold that space for a while, then I think just to hear is what people need, because some people think, I don't want to burden somebody because it's too much for them. And I don't think anybody's too much for anybody. You can't judge what people are going through or how they feel. It's so different for everybody. I just really value people's stories, and I don't think we value them enough because it's personal, right? And you're sharing some part of yourself, and so you just need to honour that, I think.
Yeah. I think you just got to be prepared to listen, haven't you?
And I think you're spot. And I think you're spot on with that too. If we can, like listen in that non-judgmental, that non-shaming space, I mean, it goes a long way, because people are already there willing to tell you their stories. So make sure that we can listen without that judgment, without that shaming factor as well.
It's tough. It's tough sometimes to do it, especially if you're going through stuff. And sometimes someone will say something, you'll be like, oh, what? Tell me more. Like, because who did that? And they did what? Like, and that's not even it. That's just them just getting everything out, And but it's about not getting caught up in being a Dory and wanting to know everything,
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, listen, we've got a few people we need to say good day to. The that are watching. We've got Alfie Bamblett down in, I think he's in Torquay still, Alfie. So
Alfie.
g'day, brother Alfie. We've got Russell Logan. He's down at Tweed or Cooley. He might be down at Kingscliff now, Russell. G'day, Russell. How are you, brother? We've got Brent Ryan watching. I think Brent's in Melbourne as well. G'day, Brent.
Yeah.
We've got Raylene Star, counsellor, watching. Raylene, g'day, sis. She's over in Geraldton in WA. So love to get you on for a chat too, Raylene. Now, we've got Jan Hogan saying, morning, Sue Ann and boys. Now, Sue Ann, Jan is from Wales over in the UK, so she gets up every morning and watches with us. So, good morning to you, Jan. I hope it's not too early for you. We've got Diane Warner watching as well. CJ, where's Diane? You know?
Diane Warner. No, we might get Diane to put her where she's watching from.
Tell us where you are, Diane.
Yeah.
I thought you might have known that as well. We've got Dion Bird watching. G'day, brother. How are you?
Really?
He's in Brizzy.
Yep.
Russell Logan said, Jingy, Waha, Wala, JB and CJ. Hello, brother.
Wala. Yeah. Wala.
Jenny Wood said, hello, all. And Jenny's down in Canberra. We've got Gary here watching. Gary, g'day, brother. He's down in Melbourne as well.
Yeah.
We've got brother Paul Walker watching from Catherine in the NT. Shana Paulson watching. I'm not sure where Shana is, if she's in Bowie or Bow Desert or on the Gold Coast. So g'day, Shana. We've got Steve Sutton watching. You might know where Steve's from, CJ.
Yeah, Steve's from he's from Capella Bay, Cleveland area, but yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. No worries. And Diane Warner said, a kind word goes a long way. It certainly does, Di. We've got Ross Williams watching. Ross is up in Brisbane. Hello, Ross. And Russell Logan said, listen to understand, not listen to reply. True. We've got Nick Bloomfield watching. Hello, Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
Long time no see. Nick's down in Melbourne too. Jenny Wood said, everyone's story is important. Russell Logan just said, yeah, he's in Kingscliff. And Ross Williams said, what a woolly to you all. Spot on. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We need to listen twice as much as we speak. And Nick said, hey, Jack and Susie. Hello, Nick, again. Hope you're doing well. Diane Warner said, I'm also living in Wales. Oh, okay. There you go. So Diane's, another one from Wales. So, hello, Di, and thanks for joining again.
Lovely Welsh girl.
Jan said, Diane's a lovely Welsh girl. And we've got brother Grant Sarah watching as well. And nice. Lionel Dukakis as well. Hello, Lionel.
Welcome on board, everyone.
There, brother?
No, that's it, mate. You've summed it up pretty well.
That's it? Beautiful.
Well done.
So, and Paulie Walker said, hello from NT. Hello, brother. Hope you're doing well. Now, Sue, tell us a little bit about how COVID might have affected your work and, well, even your family and that sort of stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, of course, we deal with children nationally. So, because it was like hit so suddenly, it was like, how do we do this? Particularly kids in out-of-home care, which are, really vulnerable kids. And how do we also look after the early years, which was, the early year, the daycare centres and the kinders were still open at that time. And so people were still working and there wasn't PPE and some of the remote communities still didn't have connection. And so we actually rang individually all our members and said, what's going on for you? What are you doing? And then down sort of Gippsland and New South Wales, they were just coming off the back of fires as well. But I have to say, people are resourceful and amazing. And when it comes to kids, the things I would have assumed rather than, if I had just to assume things, I would have been way off mark because people are so innovative and they're just amazing and so dedicated to these kids that things were happening, that you wouldn't even think of. So in a remote community, I love this example, had no hand sanitizer. They had none, right? So they were like, how are we going to get the kids? But what they did was they had heaps of these blocks of soap, and then they went and bought a heap of pantyhose and they tied the soap to the taps so the kids couldn't forget. So everywhere in that community, soap was tied by pantyhose. It was in, and that's how they got, so they wouldn't forget to what, like, who would even think, like, so, and the communities locked themselves down really early.
Yeah.
So they knew, you know, I personally was really worried it was going to get into some communities, and, you know, it's so far from help what happens. But now our mob is so deadly, straight lockdown, no one in, no one out, like straight all over it, making sure that, you know, workers going above and beyond, going to home visits when they actually didn't have PPE or they couldn't, they were told not to, and, you know, just yelling out from the fence and into the house, do you need anything, and taking stuff out for kids to do, you know, so while they're home, and amazing. So we did a lot of advocacy as well for the gaps, particularly around early years and the payments, and, you know, people were worried that if kids weren't going to daycare because they were worried about them, or at home someone was high risk, they would still have to pay and they would lose their spot, and then just the complexities and legalities of it. So we did a lot of advocacy around that. Kids in out-of-home care, there was lots of, I guess, you know, they couldn't see families, they couldn't have access visits or see family, but there was lots of looking at how do we do this with technology. So some families are having more FaceTime than they've ever had before, which was, you know, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, you know, use of the technology is really good. I think it's interesting because I know a lot of my friends that swore off Facebook and would never ever do it, you know, and all that sort of stuff, are now on it because it's, you know, the only way we can sort of communicate, and it's another way of doing things, I suppose. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And even though you know, there's nothing like catching up face to face. We all know that. We love to be with people all the time, and but it is, you know, it is interesting, kind of the, I don't know, what do you call it? It's kind of like that feeling you get when you're talking to someone, you know, your family member, and it's so good to see them, you know that they're going well and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, really, you're just missing that hug and, you know, sit down and have a cup of tea and, you know, have a yarn.
Yeah, I guess I've learned a lot off my daughter. So she's since lockdown in March, she's went to school for, I think it was 2 weeks, and then they were locked down again. So she hasn't been to school. She hasn't seen her friends. We got a puppy, which has been great. But it's really hard for her. And so all I can say is thank God I'm a therapist and trained in that, particularly with kids. So she'll be like coming and crying, going, Mum, I don't know why I'm just crying. I'm just crying. I just feel bad.
Yeah.
And so we talk about the difference of being locked down to being this, you know, and trying to do things a bit differently. And, you know, I'm working and I'm on a Zoom and she might want me, but because I'm home, she thinks I'm accessible. So really explaining what it all means. And we also live with my mum, who fell over and broke a rib. So, yeah, so I'm like, oh, my God, I'm a doctor, I'm a mum, I'm a teacher. I'm like, you know, I was like, what's going on? So, yeah, we just figured out lots of ways to do. I know I was laughing in the end. Lots of ways to do things differently, but I'm really particularly more concerned about our kids in COVID and then coming out, what that looks like, you know, just sort of the mental health about what not being connected looks like. So missing out on friendships, you know, this is all the stuff they negotiate at school and learn, right? And they're in this space where it's not there. So,
not there, that's right, yeah.
And mum's only so deadly to play with for a certain amount of time, then she's just, you don't want her anymore.
That's right, yeah. And I think the other thing that I suppose, you know, community, families, mob have all struggled with has been, you know, sorry business and not being able to get there to say goodbye, you know. And I know, like, in our families, you know, like we've had a fair bit of sorry business over the last few months, and just not being able to get there to, you know, to be there in person. You know, it's great that you can actually watch it online, but it's still really sad that you can't get there to, say those goodbyes as well. So
I feel it's really impersonal, that online.
Yeah.
And I mean, So I've had one particularly, and then another one not long ago, nothing to do with COVID, and both were just out of the blue. And because when you're usually out and you're doing stuff and you sort of use up your energy and, so your emotions aren't so high. It affected me more than it probably would have normally. And I think I remember just watching it on my phone going, I can't watch this. I love you, mate, but I can't watch this because this is just so impersonal and I can't imagine what it's like for a close family member to have to be unable to go and see other family members and hug them and just be, and have a really good connection. So there's lots of those different aspects, and, I'm on country, so we've been we just go to the backyard and I'll just do a bit of a smoking and we're like, and just that feeling of it. But what about people that aren't or don't have a backyard or,
And I suppose the other things that have, skyrocketed as well, like we do, you mentioned it before about mental health issues, not just of adults, but also of our kids, that are going through it, so we've got the suicide that's, rate that's really up as well. We've got family violence that's up and we've got child abuse is up as well. So these are some of the sort of other things that we need to be aware of as well and take into account as well.
I think it's that frustration, or if people don't know how to self-regulate and they're not good at it and you're stuck in an environment and you're already heightened, those things, so that the response after, I think, that we have is going to be really, really important. I don't know what that is, but I think it has to come across a range of things. Like it has to be in schools, so we have to, which comes with its own issues, and how do you arm teachers, or do you put extra people in there? So daycares, anywhere kids are able to access, what does it look like, and having more accessible places of therapeutic importance. So I was thinking the other day, what does it mean for, culturally, like where are people getting that cultural stuff that they'd normally get when they're together? Because we do it together. So, I'm like, when we get out of this, we need a big smoke and a big dance up, and we need to just, get out there and just be on country. It's like, it's important.
I think we're looking forward to that campfire, Jack, and sitting around that and catching up with a few fellas, and that sort of stuff. So, that's right. We do need something like that, and it's going to be a bit of a celebration when it all happens, I suppose. But once again, we've got to be not a little bit still complacent about, making sure that we're doing the right things, I suppose, so it doesn't sort of happen again, But I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah. I just think that somehow it's always going to be around now for a while, in some sort of shape and form. And how do we deal with that, And I suppose, I was saying, Sue-Ann, I catch up with my granddaughter on the phone, and that's what we do. And if this goes any further, like years, is that going to be the norm? You know what I mean? And we talk about this, Jack, a little bit. What will kids how would they feel when we tell them we used to get together and we'd be at a party or we'd go to a festival and all that sort of stuff? They was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Yeah.
It's
what is normal? Yeah.
Well, there's not a normal at the moment, because what's it going to look like at the other end? And I think it's about finding that really good balance of, having social interactions as well as you can still do. We figured out there's so much more we can do from home, and there's so much more we can do remote. And so what does it look like, but still have enough room for interactions? So do you go to work full time still? Is Richard still online? So do you go And so it's how often do you go into the workplace for that interaction and that social sort of, stuff that you need to do compared to, I'm not interrupted at home and I'm more proficient and I can get it done. But so it's about balance, I think, once we come out the other end of what does that look like?
Yeah.
And I think too, Suzanne, that the thing is that when we're at home, you mentioned it before, do we have that off button, when we're working at home, because, like there's, I can just get another 10 minutes done or 20 minutes or half hour and then you're not taking the breaks that you need to take to be able to look after yourself. So I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, and for those that have got the kids at home too, and, I'm not just saying it because he's online, Richard's been really good in being, do what you need to do and be flexible. So if Jetta needs me, then I can stop and do what I need to do with her and then know that I can come back to it later or when she's asleep or whatever and just finish off that piece of work. And I think that's a flexibility you need, but also having boundaries of how much work you're doing because you could easily work right through. It would be quite easy to do.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you don't know when to stop. That's right. Yeah. And it's but I suppose if you get a bit of work done, I guess, but when's it all stop though? You just keep doing it, and
too right.
Yeah.
And brother Richard is all right, isn't he? So we'll give him a bit of a rap tonight. So he does all right. He does all right. Uncle Richard, eh?
Don't, I'm going to be in trouble. Sorry.
Now, Lionel Ducaga said, "Hi, brothers and sister girl." Richard Weston said, "G'day, Jack and Charlie." Jan Roma is watching, and Richard said, "Good to see Sue Ann on today." Yeah, hello, Jan. How are you? We've got Kelly McCullough. Nathan is watching. Hello, how are you? We've got Alfred Bambler watching. Hello, brother. How are you? Nick Bloomfield said, "Linda gets noted mention. Love it, Sue Ann." And Rossi Williams up in Brisbane said, it's been a time of disconnect from other family and friends in grief that adds to our own grief and our grieving for others that are hurting. Yeah, well said, brother. I agree totally. We've got Leonie Oldgard watching. Hello, Leonie. We've got, I'm not sure where Leonie is, CJ.
Yeah, from Melbourne.
Hello, from Melbourne. Hello, Leonie. Yep, I see that now. And we've got Ash Edwards is watching as well. Ash is up in Toowoomba. So, g'day, brother. How are you?
Yeah.
Now, Sue Ann, I've got a question about your dog. I know you got a new dog. Now, has it had a name change?
Well, it's got 2 names now. Yeah. So, her name's Luna, and she's a French bulldog, so she's 6 months old. But when she's naughty, she's Linda. So Linda likes to steal lots of stuff and then do these runarounds, and she'll stop and she'll look at you and walk past with something in her mouth of yours, and then as soon as you go, she runs off and wants to. But
I've seen her doing a bit of train. I've seen her doing a bit of training with you there with the boxing mat.
Yeah, she that was my cardio this morning. She stole the glove. And so my cardio was chasing her around the backyard to get it back. So, God forbid you do push up and she's pulling your hair off you. It's actually been really good having her. She's been a good sort of buffer for everybody in the house, just something different.
How old is Linda?
6
She's 6 months.
Yeah.
So still a pup, but she's toilet trained, thank goodness now.
Yeah. So where did
good work. That's always
Where did the name Linda come from?
Well, I was actually saying something to my daughter Jetta, and then Luna did something. She stole something, and I was halfway through a conversation. I looked at her and I went to call her Luna, but I called her Linda. So now it's sort of stuck. Sometimes I'm sort of calling her Linda a lot now, and she answers to it. So I don't know. She may have a name change.
She might have had a name change. I did hear that on the grapevine. So so thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, definitely got an identity crisis going on.
Yeah, she has.
Well, And CJ and I do talk a little bit about, that sense of belonging and that identity on here. So we might have to get Linda on and do a little bit of work with her.
Yeah. She's not sure because she's all black and got a white patch. She's not sure, she's struggling with it. Yeah.
Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah.
Where do I belong?
Yeah. Oh.
I love it.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Oh, we've got John Carl Riley too watching. John's up in Hopevale. G'day, brother. We've got Fiona Tate watching as well. Hello, Fiona. And we've got Kaz Randall watching as well in Catherine as well, I think. So, yeah.
So also, what about this homeschooling then, Celine?
How
did that go?
So I've decided I'm not a teacher, and I thank God I never followed that path. I'm just like, I felt like reading the teacher at one point going, these aren't instructions. This is a puzzle. Like, I can't figure out what you're trying to do. And it's been tricky and it's been really difficult because my daughter's dyslexic. So I'll think she's doing something and she's on her iPad, but she's really watching something else. And sometimes I know, but I ignore it. And so school's been really good. So they were doing a dyslexia sort of a course with her. So she does half an hour online of that one course. And so because she's just was struggling with just being locked down, not seeing friends, I said to her, that's all you have to do. But what I've done is other stuff. So, she'll have to take the clothes off with the line with me and count the pegs, or, we'll make something and she'll measure it out. So just, what does that say on television and what's that letter? Just incorporating those learnings into everything.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to do that. Yeah. And you've got to have a lot of patience.
Sue Ann, I can tell you what, like when we were in lockdown, and our kids were at home, and I learned a hell of a lot about Year 10 legal studies and also science that I never knew. So, so there are some positives there, So,
I'm only grade 3.
I can tell you, I can tell you it was hard work. I can tell you that.
I'm just like,
and you guys have been in lockdown a lot longer than what we were, so we were pretty fortunate there. So
I'm on school holidays at the moment, and I said to her, you're on school holidays next week. This was last week, and she goes, oh yeah. I go, yeah, we're doing exactly the same things. It doesn't matter.
Not going anywhere.
I don't know what the difference is. So yeah.
Oh.
Now with that, Sue Ann, restrictions, are they're going to be eased anytime soon, or is there any light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I guess I think it's under a certain amount. We've had low numbers, so I guess if they keep going, we'll be able to get out and about soon. But I've still got that. I don't know. I'm wondering when it's time to start going out again about my own stuff with my daughter and my mum and who else has got it, and what that looks like. Like, it's a bit scary to think about. And I know, kids hear stuff, so they hear the telly and stuff. And my daughter said at one point, "What if I get it, but because I'm a kid, it doesn't show, and I give it to Nan and she dies?" Like, how kids make it up. I was like, "Holy hell! What does this?" I think we forget that kids are in the background hearing that telly, hearing the discussion. They take that all in and then create their own little world around what that is.
It's pretty
that.
Smart with what you come up with, though.
Sorry?
Pretty smart with what you come up with, what she was able to, piece together. I mean, I think that's really smart. With, absolutely. So
we talked a lot about how if we do what's right, then we'll be okay. And she's had some FaceTimes with her friends and stuff. And one of her friends was sick and she was really worried. So I rang her mum and said, can you get her to ring her to tell her that she's just got a cold or something, So just dampening down those things and really dosing the news. So now we'll only have the news on in the morning and the night, and then Dan Andrews' thing. That's it. No more news. Like, I've put that rule. Like, that's what we're going to do. Because otherwise, Yeah.
Well,
So,
it would go 24 hours a day, wouldn't it? I mean, seriously, like that's
Yeah.
whenever we turn the news on, that's all we hear about is, like the COVID,
Yeah.
COVID that, and I know we do need to certainly know about, a lot of the things that are happening, but we also need to have time to celebrate what we're all doing well in communities as well. So yeah.
and look, there's some deadly
Now,
stuff.
Richard,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's right. And Sue J and I talk a lot about that, being able to celebrate what our mobs are doing well, in their little pockets and all that sort of stuff. Because, as you say, Sue Ann, there is so much good that's happening that's not funny, but other people just don't get to hear about it. So it's really important that we are able to then, celebrate those sort of things. So I just want to read out a comment that Richard Weston just said. He said, Sue Ann has helped all her snake colleagues with advice about how to look after their well-being over the last few months during the hard lockdown. So I want to say a big congrats to you, Sue Ann, for being able to, play that important role with all your colleagues, and I'm sure it's with their family members as well. So, yeah, look, really well done, and a really important role that needed to be fulfilled, I suppose. So, yeah, well done.
thank you, Richard, for acknowledging that. That's nice.
That's because we talked about him nice before. See, so
I'll pay him later.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I always say too.
Yeah.
Leanne, Oldgard said, media creates unnecessary anxiety, and look, in some cases it does, but we do have to still, as I think you said before, CJ, adhere to those rules and regulations as well, and I think that we can come out of it a lot quicker than if we didn't have those rules and regulations. So
yeah, that's right. We've got Dave Brown watching up there in Cairns as well. G'day, Dave. How are you, mate? And also Ross said, Sue Ann, what are the three? He's got a question for you. What are the three things you tell kids to look after themselves with COVID?
So one of the things I've been sort of talking to, my friends about, being parents about, really getting kids to tell you how they feel and where they feel it in the body, so that they're understanding their body and what they're feeling, and then about giving solutions to kids, but also that this is something that hasn't happened before, so we don't know, and it's okay because you'll be safe, because that's what my job is, to keep you safe. So I'll keep you safe by telling you what you need to know and how to do things, and lots of just getting kids into their body. So doing physical, because they could sit in front of the screen completely. And so I spoke about dosing before, about media, so doses of it, don't have it on all day. It's the same with physical activity. What are those doses that you have throughout the day? Because think about it, I wouldn't be sitting here all day on Zooms. So what is it, when do I get, so even if it's, I get up, walk down to the clothesline at the end, touch the clothesline, walk back, at least I've done something. So that would be like going to the printer at work, Those little doses of exercise and whatever it is that makes you happy and good. I've also, the other thing I've got Jetta to do is draw what she thinks things are, and then we'll sit down and talk about them and unpack what that looks like. And I've also given her some strategies around stress, things when you feel like you're, and so we do things like butterfly hugs. This is a butterfly hug, and you think about good things, and and you just give yourself a little butterfly hug. So just different ways of doing stuff, but also not lying, being honest with kids. It's difficult depending on the situation you're in, and it must be hard for kids that are going seeing mum and then coming back seeing dad, and then going, their parents are separated. Although that's good breakup for them too, break the routine up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that was helpful.
That's well done, well said. And I've got a question of my own for you now. With your colleagues that you're working through, what are some of the things that you talk about with self-care with them?
I missed that bit. You froze, or I froze.
Yeah, okay. With your colleagues, when you're working with your colleagues, what are some of the things that you told them, or you got, were able to work with them around self-care?
It was more around, again, the dosing, about how much you get of things.
Yeah.
It was also being about what's normal for now, what's our now normal. And so talking about the feelings of being overwhelmed by, having to homeschool maybe, and then having to do this. But also when do you get your time? Just because they're all around you, do you get out and do that walk around the block? Can you do that? And then come back. And then at least you've done taking time out when you're feeling overwhelmed. And it's okay if your kid's crying in another room and you just lock yourself in the bathroom to compose yourself, and deep breaths. Like, breathing is so important. Getting back into the body. What is it, what is it that you can do now to regulate yourself? And someone rang me and said, I just get so frustrated with my child because I'm just stuck and I can't do schooling and I've got work to do. And I said, well, lock yourself in the bathroom and breathe. And it doesn't matter if they're on the other side of the door. If they're banging on it, you know where they are, and they're still crying, you can hear them. Just stay in there for like 5 minutes, regulate yourself, and then you won't be yelling when you go back out, because, it's stressful, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really good advice. So thank you for that. So, we've got Jen Hogan said, eating properly and drinking plenty of water, getting outside, also important at this time, and laughing as much as possible. Yeah, look, well said, Jan. I think that's really important, and we all know how important a bit of humour is as well. So, yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Having a bit of fun, that's right.
It's a good point, because it's easy to eat a lot of crap whilst you're in. But what I've found is I'm cooking more. So that's the bonus. So we're, making sure we're doing more of the cooking. But we've got Linda, who gives us heaps of laughs. So we've been good in that department.
No, it's good. And we've been doing lots of crazy things too, haven't we, Jack? You with your fitness and doing all your training and stuff, and and cooking and reading, that type of stuff. It's really important that you get that stuff happening. And Sue Ann, I really love the way that you incorporated some of the schoolwork in some of those life skills for your daughter as well. So it's it's sometimes we don't get the chance to do that, or we may never have had the chance to do that. Because of COVID, we do that now, and just trying to incorporate. And I guess it also sort of shows how important education is, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think, I'm trying to look at it at a time. She said, because I go away a lot with work, and she's like, when are you getting on a plane? So as soon as she started saying that, I was like, yeah, you're sick of me now. But I think when are you going to get this time that you can spend this much time with your child? Like, I've noticed these little things that I probably wouldn't have noticed had I not had this much time with her. So I'm trying to embrace the good parts of what, that is. I think there was 3 days in a row we were all staying in our pajamas in this place. And, I said to her the other day, when was the last time you had a bath? And she's, I don't know. Like, normally she'd be doing it, and we were laughing, like we made a big joke of it. And, crusty and, get in the bath. Having those jokes. So, yeah.
Oh, look, I guess that's kind of like what us too. But I had the opportunity to go up to Cairns and see family for about 10 days, and I think we both needed it. We live in a small apartment, my wife and I, and we've just been going a bit stir crazy. It's just that confinement and just needing to get away, and I just need some time, apart. So went up home. Yeah, it was good. But it can work. We've never spent this much time together.
Do you like
We might have lost Sue-Ann there, CJ.
Yeah, oh no, she's back.
I'm back. Sorry, I just
Back?
zone out
Okay.
sometimes. No, I actually said, do you still like each other after spending so much time together?
Yeah, oh, look, we do. I mean, yeah, it's quite interesting, to kind of when we do spend that much time together. It's quite interesting because she works as well, like, and I work, and we kind of have to get in separate rooms and do that bit because we just can't do it in the same space. And when we do go out, it's like going to the lunchroom, if you like, and having a yarn about stuff, or it might be Friday afternoon we'll have a couple of wines or whatever, that type of stuff to catch up. So it's kind of interesting. It took us a little while to get that routine happening. It was really messy at the beginning. I said, "Oh, look, this is we need a bigger apartment. We need to be able to book away." I go down. We just live on the beach, so I'll go and walk down the beach, walk up to Currumbin or something like that, and come back. And,
Lovely. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of like, my walks go for a lot longer and longer, Jack. I always bump into someone down the beach, and we all sit down and have a yarn. It's really good to have a yarn with people, and just to talk to someone else. Yeah. It's but we do love it. We still love each other.
Yeah,
that's good. Good to hear, brother.
Yeah.
Now, Richard Weston said Sue-Ann laughs a lot. So beautiful. And we've said a little bit of that tonight. So, thanks, Richard. Now, Michelle Dreyer just said, geez, you don't sound very convincing, Charlie Dreyer. And I was actually going to say that myself. You could have been a little bit more convincing, CJ.
Oh, well. Yeah, see what I mean? I'll have to book another flight to Cairns.
Hey, brother, you're in trouble now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've got to go and cook tea yet, so yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
Now, speaking of the weekend, what have we got on for the weekend? Sue-Ann?
I might just stay at home and have a nice weekend at home, different. Just a lazy weekend at home. Might venture off to the kitchen.
Yeah. Now, can I ask you, are you allowed to have any visitors?
So, because we live with Mum, it depends. You've got this bubble thing with one person that I don't understand.
Okay.
So I don't understand it, but I think we've just been avoiding people while we can. We can still go 5K radius, but there's a problem with that because I've got too many magpies swooping at the moment. So I swear to God, the construction men were laughing at me. That's how much I was screaming. So I've had to change, that. But I'm the only one that goes out to the shop or anything, and I'm really quick and back. And we're just really mindful that we've got Mum. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it does make a difference, doesn't it, when you've got someone vulnerable living with you. So, look, hopefully, some of those restrictions are eased shortly so that you can get back out and do what you need to do, or you want to do it as well.
Yeah.
CJ, what do you got on?
Mate, I am catching up with you, I think, sometime during the weekend. You and Lise. You're back down to Goldie tomorrow, aren't you?
Tomorrow morning. Yeah.
That'll be good. Look, I've got a bit of work. I've just sort of, you don't, like, weekends are sort of, you're always doing something, but we think we'll just jump in the combi and head over down to Kingscliff or something like that this weekend. Yeah.
Now, if you get a chance to have a look at CJ's combi, it's a beautiful machine. So 1973, I think, CJ.
That's right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yep. So going to catch up with some people over there. So it'll be good. Yeah. Can't go overseas anymore. Just have to drive around the place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I know.
Explore Queensland, brother.
Yes, that's right. And it's school holidays as well, so it's really busy. So there's going to be a lot of people, and the borders have opened up. Well, our bubble's gone all the way down to Ballina now. So so it's it's going to be busy, and maybe not a good idea traveling around the place, but what do? You got to do something.
We should see how busy it is here on the Sunshine Coast. It's I've never seen it so busy. So everyone from around Queensland must be visiting. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Maybe those sneaky Victorians got through.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe they did. Yeah. There's a few
through.
of them. Well, you know, we're talk to. We got a real estate friend here on the Gold Coast, and she was saying how many people are putting their properties up for sale because all the Victorians now do want to come up and buy on the Gold Coast. So yeah, so just amazing. So
They're bailing.
yeah.
We're the sick cousin.
Yeah.
I keep saying we're the sick cousin that no one wants to know.
Yeah. You know, one virus and everyone sort of panics, you know, it's really terrible.
Let's run with that, CJ.
Yeah, I know. But no, it's, look, I can't imagine, like I said at the beginning, it's just, you know, unbelievable what's happening at the moment. And hopefully it just, you get some, you know, restrictions get lifted a bit, you get a few more people to catch up with and all that sort of stuff. And I was quite interested to hear on the news that, you know, the federal government's been painting Daniel Andrews a particular way, and there's a lot of new stuff coming out about how popular he is with Victorians. So I'm not sure if that's what's happening, but you know that's what we're seeing on the news.
Look, the numbers are going down, which you know, I don't care how long I have to stay in lockdown, as long as we minimise the numbers of people that get it. There's less deaths. People are safe. For me, that's you know what it's about. And having supports. If we have to be locked down further, than having those supports. I think what really like pisses me off is, you know, and people will disagree, and that's fine, is the protests. You know, we're locked down for a reason, and I think it's to keep people safe. And you know, it could have gone through the roof, but the numbers are going down, and you know, every day I see the numbers go down, I feel so much better knowing that we've got less chance, or you know, particularly our elders, they're the ones I worry about the most.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that we covered that before as well. You know, like a little bit of short-term pain for long-term gain. You know, so and again, it is about us all. You know, like even as hard as it does get, we need to all be working together to create that for the future. You know, so yeah.
JB, what are you doing the weekend, mate? You're coming back here, of course.
Oh, got to come back down to the Gold Coast, brother. So a couple of hour drive there in the morning, and then got a little bit of tidying up to do at home. So there's always something to do when you're living on, you know, an acre. So we got that we'll be doing. Catching up with you too, brother.
Yeah.
Hope to get a couple of runs in. So so we'll be doing a little bit of that as well. So that's about it. And then back into it on Monday.
Yeah. You're not watching the Blues run around or not, mate?
Mate, the Blue Boys, the AFL season's over for us, so we didn't quite make it, brother. So maybe next year. So, but I'll be on Manly for you, brother. So
no, don't worry about them, mate. They're finished as well. So you know
they're playing, mate. We still cheer them on.
The last game, yeah, but look, no, I don't think I'll even watch it. No, it's all over for me.
All right.
Sports all over for me this year.
Gee. Okay. So, look, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Sue Ann for coming on and having a yarn with us, telling us a little bit about your story, your journey, and tell us a little bit about your family and the beautiful little Linda that you got there now. So Lisa's told me a little bit about Linda, so that's why I asked those questions. So
I'll just look and see if she was going to come in, but no. I think she's busy chasing the cat or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to thank you. Look, some great insights and some really good comments we've had so far, and I'm sure there'll be more as well as, you know, people jump on and watch as well. So thank you so much. And I want to thank you too, CJ, for being there again. And I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the lovely comments too. And Yeah, and thanks for the yarn. It's especially being in lockdown. It's nice to speak to different people. So thank you.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Sue Ann, and keep up that great work you're doing. And I think it's it's important stuff you do. And people don't say things like what Richard said if you aren't doing good stuff. So it's fantastic and great to hear your story. And like I said, keep whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And we'll all be.
And we will have to. And we will have to have you back on to just get an update later on. So
yeah,
if you're up for that.
Yeah.
Yep, that'd be great. Thank
Fantastic.
you.
All right, everyone.
Thank you.
No, thank you sincerely from the bottom of our hearts. So thanks so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Yep.
See you on Monday. And we have got another special guest as well. Auntie Judy Atkinson's coming on for a yarn on Monday. So, so I'll be,
Be watching that one.
So,
looking forward to that. Yep.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone, and over and out for now.
See ya.
Bye.